What's up, freaks and geeks? Welcome back to Low Res DIY. Well, I am finally getting around to installing Truenas Scale on the new server build we did in the last video. If you haven't seen that, check this video out here or check down in the description and I'll have a link to the video there also. So, Truenas Scale, what do we need for the install? We need a USB drive that is at least 16 gigabytes or larger. We will need something like Balena Etcher, which will take the ISO and put it on the USB device in a bootable manner. And we will need Truenas Scale downloaded, which I'll have links to both Balena Etcher and Truenas Scale in the description. But let's have a quick look at the minimum hardware. Okay, so they are saying we need a CPU with 64-bit processing, which we have. We need 8 gigabytes of RAM minimum, 16 preferred. We've got that. We're at 32. We need a 16 gigabyte SSD boot device or USB boot device like we have here. Oh, that's boot device. I'm sorry. We need at least an 8 gigabyte USB device for the installation process. For the boot device, the actual boot device for the server, we need 16 gigabytes, which is like really small. I've got a pair of 120 gigabyte ADATA devices, two identical size devices. What they're talking about there is they're talking about your hard drives or your SSDs. If you have a 2 terabyte SSD or hard drive, they want a 2 terabyte SSD or hard drive to match up with it. It's not like on RAID where you can just use any hard drive you want. You got to have actual matching sizes for them. A network port and hardware RAID is not required. So with that, let's go ahead, throw that USB into the system, and we'll get her booted up and start the install. All right, so I hit the power button and then I spammed F12, which allows me to choose which boot device I want for this one instance. And I am going to pick our USB device that we put Balena Etcher on. I'm going to pick UEFI because that's the way I have the BIOS set up, and we're going to hit enter. It's going to go through and install, and let me tell you, this is the easiest installation process that I believe I've ever seen. It is, I won't say it's quick, but there's minimal requirements from you. Okay, we want to choose option number 1, install or upgrade TrueNAS, so we'll hit enter. It's going to ask what boot device or what you want to use as a boot device. Now I'm going to use my two ADATA SSDs as the boot device. This will create a mirror of one to the other. And we'll hit tab and hit OK. It's going to ask if you want to upgrade or install. We obviously want to do a fresh install. I've been testing this, so it thinks I want to do an upgrade. I want to do a fresh install, so just pick install. Install in a new boot environment. Now let's go ahead and format the boot device, and we're going to proceed. It's going to ask for a password, so obviously give it a strong password, and then we want to hit OK, and it's going to start the installation process. It's going to ask if you want to create a swap file on your boot device. I've got plenty of room, so sure, I'm going to go ahead and create it. You do you. If you're just using like two small USB drives as your boot device, you might not want to do that, but I've got plenty of room, so I'm going to do it. And that is basically it. So now just sit back and hang out until it finishes up. All right, the TrueNAS installation on SDA and SDC succeeded. Please reboot your system. So we're going to scroll down to number 3, but first I'm going to pull my boot. Well, I don't need to pull the boot device out or the USB device out. We'll just reboot this guy. All right, so it is installed now. The whole process from beginning to end maybe took 5 minutes or so. It does not take a long time. Like I said, it's a super simple installation process. Now that we've got it up and running, the thing you're going to want to take note of is the IP address at the top there, the 192.168.1.176. That's how you're going to access it with their web GUI. And you've got a couple options there. Configure your network interface, configure network settings, configure static routes, all that stuff. You can do it here from the command prompt if you want to do that. But I think most people prefer the GUI. So let's hop over to Chrome and we'll check out the GUI. Go ahead and open a new tab and https:// 92.168.1.176, and we'll hit enter. Of course, you're going to get your warning. Just hit advance and proceed. Your username will be root, and your password will be the super strong password that you created during the installation process. So now that we got it up, let's have a quick look around here. The first page that's going to come up is your dashboard, and it has, you know, basic little information here: system information, Truenas help if you want that, CPU usage, memory usage, your storage usage, which we haven't created a pool yet, so there's nothing there, and your network usage is right down here. If you want to change that stuff around, you can always click up here in the if you want to change the order of your layout, you can always click on the configure button right here. Click configure, and it will allow you to remove and add things in if you want. Like, I never use the help thing, so I'm just going to turn that guy off, and then you click save. If you want to reorder them, you just go and you click reorder, and then you should be able to move things around to however you want them. Like, I always like the CPU usage, the memory usage, and storage, basically like this. And then you can click confirm to save it. But let's do a check for updates first. No updates are available. So, all right, over here on the left side of the screen, these are all your like menu options or menu buttons right here. We have dashboard, storage, shares, data protection, network credentials, virtualization, apps, reports, and system settings. So this is just a basic quick run through of Truenas Scale, and I'm assuming everybody that wants Truenas Scale, they're going to want it for mass storage or use it as a NAS. You know, NAS is in the name, makes sense, right? So the first thing you will actually need to do is create some storage. Now, I already, like I said, tested on this machine. I did create pools, things like that, so I imagine the pools are still there. Let's go ahead and click import and see if there's pools there. So it has my app and my test pool there. So, you know, hey, if you have hard drives you threw in there from another system, that's how you would import them. But we want to go ahead and we want to create a new pool, and we'll just go ahead and name it test again, because I'm going to delete all this eventually and start over. And I want to use all three of my 1 terabyte hard drives that are installed. You'll check them right here, and you click the arrow. That brings them over to the right as your data dev. Click the top button just so it chooses them all, and it will suggest right down here, it's going to suggest that I put it in a RAID Z array, which gives us 1 drive of redundancy. Now, I'm not going to dive down into the different RAID settings. If you're interested in that and want me to put a video out, go ahead, put a comment down in the description and let me know that you'd like a more beginner type description of what the RAID options are and why you would want to use them. If I get enough people wanting a video, I'll go ahead and create that. It's suggesting a RAID type Z, which is actually what I want, so I'm just going to click create. We'll confirm it, and then we'll create the pool. Give it a couple minutes here. All right, so we have our pool is now created. You can see right here, test is created. I want to add a data set to it, which is actually what you'll utilize to access your storage. So we want to go over here on the right side, and we want to click on the 3 buttons right there. So we'll click on that. We will add a data set. It is going to be, the parent path is test. Give it a name of whatever you want, and we'll just keep with the test process. We'll call it test. You can add comments if you want. Inherit. I'm just going to leave all the options the same. What's share type? Oh, SMB. You can make it an SMB share if you want. I'm just going to leave it generic because we can access that either way. And like I said, this is just a starting video for this. Or you can click on advanced settings where you can get a little more granular with it, change different things. Myself, like I said, just going to go with the standard. So we're going to click save. And now I have my test VDEV create, or my test data set created. If I click on the three dots over here on the right again and I view permissions, we're going to see that root owns this share. So we can't really access that from any of our other devices, which, like I said, it's a shared storage, so you're going to want to be able to access it from other desktops, other laptops you may have, or your cell phone, whatever other devices you may be using. So to do that, we need to go over here to credentials, and we'll click on credentials, and I want to create a local user. It is just showing us root right now and letting us know that all the other ones are created. If we need them, they're already there. Well, I want to create a new one, so I'm going to click add. Let's give it our full name, and I'm going to call it low res. And once I hit enter, let me take that period out. Once I hit enter, it's going to create our username of low res. Now it's going to want a password for our user. So again, super secret password. Make sure they're both the same. Give it a, okay, you don't have to give it an email. Well, let's just continue on. We'll skip the email address right now. It is going to give us a user ID of 1000, and it is going to, right here we have a new primary group. We're going to leave that clicked, and it's going to also make a group called low res. If we scroll down a little further, we have some other options. We're going to leave it as mount. I want the group to have rewrite access. I'm going to choose Microsoft account because I'm going to access it through this system which has Windows on it, and I want to permit sudo, which allows your sudo options and everything. So if I click save, oh, what's this? The Microsoft account feature requires an email address. So I'm going to have to give it an email address because that's one of the requirements for the Microsoft account. So and then I'll save it, and it's going to create our user for us. There's our user right there. Low res. If we click on the little arrow over here on the right, it'll tell you your options. You can go ahead and click edit and edit the user if you want, or you can delete the user if you want. If we go to credentials and we go to local groups, bam, right there. There's the local group that we just created with it. Again, it's telling you that, hey, the standard groups have already been created. Okay, now that we have the user created, we're going to give them control over the data set we just created. So we'll go back to storage. We'll click over here on the three little dots, and we'll go down to view permissions, and then we'll hit the little pencil right here. Let's go ahead and highlight that for you. Hit that little pencil right there, and that will take us to our options to change the user. So if we click the little arrow, scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's low res. You're going to need to click right here and click apply user. Let's change the group also to low res, and we'll also choose apply to group. We are going to give the group again read write access. We're going to apply all of the permissions recursively, which means if there's any data sets under the data set that we already created, it will set everything up just like this. So we're going to confirm it, continue all children data sets, and then we're going to save. All right, now if we go back and we view the permissions again, low res is now the owner of that data set. So everything's good, right? Well, not so quick. We need to go up here to shares, click on it, and you'll see there are no shares available. The one we're going to want is Windows. Oop, that's a little big circle, huh? Let's try that again. Windows FMB share. So we'll click on add. It's going to ask us the path. Of course, it's mount. Test is the the pool we created, and test, the second one, I should have named that test 1 or test 2 or something else, but test is the data set that we created. Oops, fat fingers there, sorry. Test. Now you can give it a new name if you want. Let's go ahead and test it, call it test 2, just to differentiate the differences between it. Now you can use this for different things. Again, we're not going to get into all this stuff. We're just going to leave it as a default share parameter. You can throw a description out here if you want. And what is enable for there? Oh, enable the SMB share. So it's going to install a little add-on once we save it. So we click save. It's going to tell you right here, enable services. It needs the SMB service enabled. So enable the service. Give it a few minutes. The service has been enabled. Close. And we now have created our share. So again, everybody's happy. Everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and we are going to map that share. So let me pull where to go. Open up your File Explorer, click on this computer, and you'll have an option up here on the top that says Map Network Device. We want to click on that, and it's going to bring this window up. Now you can do, like you can see, I've done it multiple times. You can type it in there. If you're lucky, you can click Browse, and it will search your network. And I've noticed this is real hit and miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes you can get it to find the Truenas server. See, it found my Truenas core server, but it didn't find the scale server. So we're going to go ahead and manually enter the information here. So you want to forward hack. You want to give it the IP address. And then you want to tell it the share's name. And remember, we changed the name from test to test 2, and we'll click finish. But real quick, on this desktop, the one that I'm actually trying to share the file, the data set to, my login credentials are exactly the same as what I set up for my user credentials in Truenas. So when I hit finish, it should automatically connect it, which it did right there. It automatically connected. If you had a different username, let's say you have your logon name as I don't know, Johnny B as your logon for your desktop, and your logon or your credentials in Truenas or more, and you change those to Gary and a different password. Well, what you would need to do, double click on this guy again. In that case, you would tell it where the share is, and then you would say connect using different credentials. You hit finish, and then it's going to ask you the different credentials. Well, you'll hit click more, and then use different account to log into that. So now we're connected to it. If we want, we can go and do whatever we want. Let's say we want to copy our temp.d file over to that to our new share. We can paste it in there, and bam, it's there. There's nothing in the file, obviously. Well, obviously there's nothing in the file. I don't know why, but there's nothing in there. Let's actually copy something. Copy, enter, paste, and it puts all of our information in there. So it's up, it's running. If we go back, let's go back to our dashboard. And I've noticed for some reason CPU and CPU memory, these two little guys here, sometimes when you're doing things, it will not show up. It'll just sit there and spin like it's looking for the information. But the thing I wanted to show you was down here in storage. All of a sudden, we've got a pool in there. And it's showing us everything that's going on with it. We click on this, it'll bring it over to our pool status, showing us we got what RAID we have, and or that is Z1, and that these are the disks that it has. But let's say you want to get a little more information about it. We can go back to configure. Now all of a sudden we have test as an option. So if we click on test and we save it, right here, there it is. It tells you your available space, 1.7 terabytes. There's one VDEV on it, which again, if you want to know more about that, you'll need to leave a comment down in the comments, and I'll do a more in-depth video of what ZFS is, how it works, and what VDEVs are. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. This is just, again, just a quick little walkthrough of everything. And with this, at the very least, you are able to share files back and forth and store them on your new Truenas Scale server. In the next video, I'm going to install a couple of apps, and we'll get into Truenas charts a little bit, and we'll just keep building on the system from there. So until that time, thanks for watching. Reach down there and let me delete that. Reach down there and karate chop that like button and roundhouse kick that subscribe button, and catch you later.